Good morning, America. Overnight, Hurricane Milton rips through the state of Florida. Breaking news, Hurricane Milton makes landfall in Siesta Key as an extremely dangerous Category 3 hurricane. Powerful winds up to 120 miles an hour in St. Petersburg. A crane collapses onto a building. The roof ripped off Tampa Bay Rays Stadium. Water invades the streets and homes.
The surge just keeps coming up. I can't even stand down there anymore. There was a pool on the pool deck. It is full with water from the Gulf of Mexico. And right behind me, that shed shows how far up the water has made it to the doorknob and growing.
Transformers blowing up, sparks flying.
Crazy!
An explosive house fire in Venice. At least 3 million people without power right now. Tampa dealing with a flash flooding emergency in the dark.
Wow. The rain, when it hits you with these gusts, it feels like needles against your skin.
And the danger is not over due to Tampa Bay's reverse storm surge, when the water is expected to rush back in.
Milton spawning at least 36 reported tornadoes across Florida, one tearing through a retirement home near Fort Pierce, and this sheriff's office in St. Lucie.
I can tell you the winds have been extraordinary here. The rain coming in sideways. You can see it blowing here behind us.
David Muir and our team is spread out across the state in the aftermath of this catastrophic storm. Gender is tracking where Milton is heading next.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
Let's get right to Florida. Let's take a look at the scene in Clearwater, Florida this morning. Just moments ago, the rescue efforts underway after Hurricane Milton hit. It hit hard, and we're learning a lot more this morning.
George, they are getting pummeled. It made landfall as a major Category 3 storm in Siesta Key. Heavy rain from Milton sparked flash flood emergencies for a Tampa Bay area, and the powerful winds brought down this crane you're looking at in St. Petersburg right onto a building.
And this storm has been felt across the entire state. A swarm of twisters also tore through. At least 36 reported. We're going to take a look at Wellington, which is on Florida's east coast, and get just a glimpse of the tornado damage there.
Some of the tornadoes have turned deadly. We're still gathering all the information as dawn breaks there in Florida. 3 million people without power, nearly 2,000 flights canceled. We have teams in place all over the region. We begin with World News Tonight anchor David Muir in Tampa. Good morning, David.
Good morning, George. And as you rightly point out, that is the image of the morning. The search and rescue teams now going out, beginning their work. The hard work now begins with daybreak here as we get a portrait of the damage, the destruction from Hurricane Milton, which came crashing ashore last night. A Category 3 hurricane, winds more than 100 miles per hour. And the force of this, as you saw there, the crane crashing onto a building, the roof ripped right off of Tropicana Field. More than 3 million people this morning without power.
Overnight, a ferocious Hurricane Milton making landfall along the west coast of Florida. Slamming ashore in Sarasota County late last night as a Category 3, powerful winds up to 120 miles per hour, uprooting trees, knocking over light poles and power lines. Watch as this transformer explodes. Oh, there it was! Sending sparks flying. More than 3 million people are without power here in Florida this morning. That major storm surge so many feared, barreling down the streets of Sarasota.
It was insane. Nothing like I've ever seen before.
Parts of Venice, Florida, turning into an extension of the sea. Boats in this marina rocking precariously against the violent wind gusts.
Oh, the boat broke out.
Floodwaters rising inside this home. In St. Petersburg, the strong winds causing this crane to collapse onto a building. Bricks from that structure and a mangled piece of the crane lying across the street. The violent 101-mile-per-hour wind gusts also ripping off part of the roof of the Tropicana Field, home of the Tampa Bay Rays. The inside of the field could be seen against the night sky. It was originally meant to be the staging area for hundreds of National Guardsmen before the storm. Those guardsmen moving inland before Milton made landfall, the storm ripping the panels off that roof. Bands of wind and rain ripping into Tampa overnight.
This is bad. I've never seen, for all 37 years being in Tampa, I've never seen like this something.
We were live on the air here in Tampa as Milton roared in.
I can tell you the winds have been extraordinary here. The rain coming in sideways. You can see it blowing here behind us.
In Fort Myers, waves crashing above the storm walls. Officials saying around 31,000 people are staying in the nearly 150 shelters across the region. Bradenton's mayor had given dire advice for those waiting out the storm in their homes.
Write your name on your arm so we can identify you. We're all talking the same way.
The wind is just whipping. The rain is just constant. It's water coming in through the windows. The doors are rattling. It's getting pretty rough out there.
Dr. Megan Martin, sheltering and working at a hospital in St. Petersburg, expecting daybreak will bring more people in need.
As soon as the weather gets better, we will start to see patients really start to pick up. We'll start to see people with falls, with lacerations, with bruises, with broken bones, people moving things around, stepping on nails, just with all of the debris and people trying to help, fix their homes up.
We got a tornado in front of us.
This hurricane causing havoc well before it made landfall, spawning at least 36 reported tornadoes across southern Florida. Sail drones in the Gulf of Mexico measuring waves more than 28 feet as Milton barreled toward the coast. Hurricane hunters from NOAA flying into the eye of the hurricane before it descended upon the state, telling me they've never seen anything like this before.
I know you've flown through several hurricanes now over the course of many years. How do you compare this one?
This is the craziest storm that I've ever flown inside of, hands down. Multiple missions in a row with the worst turbulence I've ever seen, the most lightning, the deepest convection, and the breadth of the storm, the reach it has is incredible, as well as the power behind it.
This morning, officials here who were prepared are now focused on the search and rescue and recovery ahead.
That is certainly where the efforts here turn next. One of the things that Ginger had told us to be prepared for before this hurricane were the chance of tornadoes, and we saw that here across the region. As I mentioned there, 36 reported tornadoes. That number is expected to grow. It's believed they have been deadly, but we saw images of these tornadoes ripping through neighborhoods, everything suddenly turning dark. This was even before the hurricane hit. One tornado scene ripping right across I-75. Just a short time ago, the mayor of Tampa here urging everyone to stay inside. Those who did stay here to ride out the hurricane, she asked that they do not leave their homes, do not venture out into your neighborhoods until authorities can go through and survey the damage to make sure those power lines aren't a real danger to the people here. But overall, when you see the images of all of the people who are in those shelters, Michael, it shows that they took this hurricane very seriously, particularly because it came just days after Hurricane Helene here.
Yeah, as they should have, David, and glad that they did. Thank you so much for that. And as David mentioned, there are at least 36 tornadoes that ripped through the state. And take a look at this video from Jupiter, Florida, my friend Thomas Pisacco, that left damaged businesses, wow, yes, and homes in its wake. I mean, just incredible images there and video there. And let's go to Whit Johnson with more on the deadly twisters. Good morning, Whit.
Michael, good morning. Hurricane Milton unleashed a combination of dangerous threats. As you can see in this Tampa neighborhood, it's a mess of downed trees and power lines, and it looks like this block after block. But across the state of Florida, it was a deadly tornado outbreak that caused some of the worst damage.
Milton's devastation impacting Florida even before landfall.
It's almost like having a bomb drop in any place in the county.
It's coming right at us. You can see the debris in the air.
The hurricane spawning at least 36 reported tornadoes, with an astonishing 133 tornado warnings issued.
We were just putting shutters up here, and all of a sudden we heard a crazy noise and the wind picked up, and we ran in the house.
Some turning deadly. Multiple fatalities reported at a senior community near Fort Pierce on Florida's East Coast.
We do have multiple fatalities that we can confirm.
The tornado outbreak ripping apart the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office. Mangled metal mixed with rescue vehicles.
Our team was within 50 yards of this structure that got hit. It's about a 10,000 square foot structure that's made of red iron. And we were actually storing all of our high water rescue vehicles and our patrol vehicles in this structure to prevent it from damage from the hurricane. Within seconds, a tornado came through and just demolished the structure.
One tornado passing over a highway. Videos also show large funnel clouds over neighborhoods near Palm Beach. Another tornado flipping a postal truck at the Vero Beach post office and ripping down this steel railway sign. and these homes in Okeechobee County destroyed.
You can see just the devastation around me. I'll take a step out of your way. All of this, once the contents of a home, we'll zoom in on that home that now you can see is just part of a home. Everything that was inside is now just in this field. We can see the dishwasher, we can see a microwave, chairs, clothes, a backpack.
The devastation laid bare even before Milton moved through, and now the race to locate residents who may have been trapped.
We're out there. I mean, our deputies are putting their lives on the line because we know people are probably trapped in those homes, and we're going to do whatever we can to get them out.
And as we've been out driving around the neighborhoods here, we have seen some flooding, but not nearly at the levels that we saw with Hurricane Helene 2 weeks ago. That's because of what meteorologists call a reverse surge, meaning the winds from this storm were blowing offshore instead of onshore, essentially pushing the water away from some of the communities here. So despite all the damage that we're seeing, the trees, the power lines, some of the debris, it likely could have been much worse. Rebecca?
And yes, but something people have to be aware of going forward with that reverse surge as well. Whit, thank you for your coverage. Ginger, meantime, is in Fort Myers tracking where Milton is heading now. Good morning, Ginger.
Rebecca, we have some of that tornado damage here in Fort Myers. This is a daycare. The van wrecked by trees, the roof is off, and so we'll see more of this as the light comes up. We have kind of reduced the tornado threat, but there are a lot of other things we've got to talk about. Let's go over how the path went. It went really well along the forecast line, right into Siesta Key, Florida, which is on that south side of Sarasota there. But that's why the right side, where we were, had all that storm surge. The back side had the anti-surge, but the big winds. St. Pete, 101 mile per hour gusts. They had 18.5 inches of rain. Tampa now wettest year on record, 97 mile per hour gust. Orlando had an 86. Even this morning, Daytona had an 87 mile per hour wind gust, and Sarasota at 102. Just looking at where the storm is now, it's moving off into the Atlantic, but there's still some warnings, and they will dwindle as we go through the day. Some tropical storm warnings even from Charleston to West Palm. A lot of that's because we're still pushing water back toward the coast, so there's still storm surge warnings up. Jacksonville and New Smyrna, Daytona, Cape Canaveral, down to Vero Beach could still see 3 to 5 feet. Remember, with tidal times, that makes a big difference. It's why we got so lucky over here. The winds will start to go down. Daytona 55-ish as we pull that away. It goes down into the 20s, so more like breezy, I would call it. And then why is Milton not going to impact the northeast or the southeast? Because we've got this jet stream and we've got this cold front that's keeping everything south. Now, of course, Milton is not, of course, the end of the season by any means. Today is actually the anniversary of October 10th, Big Cat 5 in the panhandle of Florida. That was Hurricane Michael. But we will keep tracking what's happening with Milton. But for now, back to you, George.
Some encouraging news and an encouraging forecast. Okay, Ginger, thanks very much. Let's go to Eva Pilgrim in Orlando. Good morning, Eva.
Yeah, George, right now here in Orlando, we're just seeing kind of a drizzle, some rain still. We are still getting some big gusts of wind. There have been winds of like 35 miles per hour this morning. Some real big pushes of wind that we're still seeing here. And we saw some crazy wind overnight. The transformers were just blowing left and right, and power is out all across the state. More than 3.2 million households are without power. And when you go towards that west coast of Florida, Tampa Electric reporting that 70% of its customers are without power this morning. You hear those numbers, 3.2 million. It's actually a lot more people that don't have power this morning because those are 3.2 million households. So the number of people that live in those houses, that number becomes exponentially bigger. The other thing that we are seeing this morning are flight cancellations. 2,200 flights already canceled for the day. Have already canceled flights tomorrow, almost 500 flights canceled tomorrow. And that is on top of the nearly 2,000 flights they canceled yesterday. Now, that's a lot of numbers that I just threw at you. But the point of that is that these flights are starting to pile up on each other. These cancellations are starting to pile up on each other. And that is something that's going to affect everyone all across the country. Michael?
Yeah, you have to be understanding and have some patience, Eva. Thank you so much for that. Milton made landfall in Siesta Key, right near Sarasota, and that's where Victor Oquendo is, getting a sense of how hard that area was hit. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Michael. This police presence that you see behind me here, that is the sheriff's office, and they're blocking the entrance onto Siesta Key. Hurricane Milton making landfall just on the other side of that bridge. And for the time being, no one is allowed to drive on, although residents eager to check on their homes can walk over. I've checked in with the county, and right now there are tactical teams doing the first wave of damage assessment. We've also seen a high water rescue vehicle cross that bridge. You might hear those chainsaws going too. They are clearing debris right now. It was just 2 weeks ago, Hurricane Helene hit Siesta Key hard, and with the forecast calling for up to twice the amount of storm surge with Milton, they are bracing for significant damage. Rebecca?
All right, Victor, thank you, and thanks to our entire team in the storm's path. We turn now to the White House response. Last night, President Biden promised that he and Vice President Harris are mobilizing all federal resources necessary for the storm zone, and he blasted former President Trump for spreading falsehoods about the relief effort.
Literally, there are thousands of fellow Americans who are putting their lives at stake and putting on the line to do the dangerous work that needs to be done now. And it's harmful to those who most need the help. Quite frankly, these lies are un-American, and there is simply no place for them. Not now, not ever. Former President Trump has led this onslaught of lies.
Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the latest. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Rebecca. Well, the president says these false claims are reckless and irresponsible. They're just not true, and it has to stop because it's undermining confidence in the rescue and recovery efforts and could hurt people who need help the most. And the president is now trying to set the record straight, making it clear they are surging resources to the region with more than 8,000 federal personnel on the ground. They have 20 million meals and 40 million liters of water ready to go. Search and rescue teams stand at the ready. The Pentagon has troops out of Georgia on standby, in addition to the assets that the Florida National Guard has ready. Now, here at the White House this morning, the president is being continuously briefed. He's in contact with state and local officials, and he is pledging to stand by those impacted for as long as it takes to rescue, recover, and rebuild. His message this morning, guys, we have your back.
Mary Bruce, thanks. Coming up, Ginger takes us inside the Mammoth Hurricane. Her moment-by-moment video diaries as Milton hit.
Plus, new details about a passenger plane that was forced to divert after the pilot died mid-flight.
And Sean Diddy Combs due back in court, his defense team making a new plea to get him released from jail.
There are rescues that are happening live right there in Clearwater, Florida. We are tracking the aftermath of Hurricane Milton all morning long. So you stay right there, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to GMA. That is a look at Clearwater, Florida. Rescues happening just moments ago. Sun is coming up there. They're starting the rescue and recovery efforts.
And our Ginger Z rode out the storm in Fort Myers, and she's back now to show us what it was like. Good morning again, Ginger.
Hey, good morning to you, Michael. Yes, we had stayed at the same hotel in Fort Myers for Hurricane Ian. We knew this one would be far less impactful, but boy, we still took on a ton of surge. Check it out.
As Hurricane Milton approached Southwest Florida, I was tracking it every step of the way.
I can't even stand where I was before. The surge has come up, the Gulf of Mexico now pushing in and about to breach the pool.
Around 8:30 p.m., Hurricane Milton making landfall near Siesta Key.
We've had to climb up here in the last hour because the surge has overtaken the entire pool deck.
Minute by minute, the storm growing more intense.
Excuse me, my hat keeps flying off, so I'm really starting to feel these winds. We've been taking these onshore winds now for a while, so the surge just keeps coming up. I can't even stand down there anymore. There was a pool on the pool deck. It is full with water from the Gulf of Mexico, and right behind me, that shed shows how far up the water has made it to the doorknob and growing. Oh, you see that? Power flash, huge splash of the Gulf of Mexico taking over the entire pool deck here. The surge is still increasing.
The sky over Fort Myers pitch black as more than 1.8 million people are without power, including us.
Well, our power's out, and you can see why. The surge is getting big.
I think we'll see a lot of power outages overnight. We'll get rid of Milton by afternoon, but not before it leaves behind up to 18 inches of rain, and that's for places like Tampa Bay that are on track for their wettest season on record. Southwest Florida got super lucky, especially around Fort Myers, that most of that onshore flow started coming in just after low tide. So high tide would have been this morning. The timing worked out that it moved faster, and we got real fortunate. I think between 5 and 6 feet of surge, which is still considerable around Fort Myers. But I also wanted to share with you a few other things that we witnessed and that were important to the story, because we still don't know surge numbers from closer to the eye wall. One of the big reasons we cover these storms on the dirty side, as we call it, is because of that onshore flow. You see how it made landfall at Siesta Key? We moved down here. You remember we were in Tampa because we wanted to emphasize that onshore flow is where the biggest surge happens. Now, on the backside, you get that anti-surge that Whit was describing earlier, Tampa Bay kind of pouring back out into the ocean because these things rotate clockwise, and so counterclockwise, excuse me. Here's some of the headlines. Some of the gusts were upwards of 102 miles per hour for St. Petersburg, but we're moving this thing out now. The center is over the Atlantic already. Hurricane warnings should subside in the next hour or two. We're still picking up big winds. Just a few hours ago, Daytona Beach had an 87 mile per hour gust, so that'll slip east, and then we will start to see those winds diminish. But surge is still going to be an issue because you're still pushing water back at the coast. So Jacksonville Beach, New Smyrna Beach, Daytona, Cape Canaveral, almost there to Vero, 3 to 5 feet. And then if you're on the other side, you may end up seeing some of the water push away in that anti-surge type thing. So we're keeping an eye on all of the forecasts, but again, we're pretty much done by late morning, early afternoon with Milton. And I'm so grateful that they evacuated so well around here, because when you evacuate, you'll have a lot of damage to homes, I'm sure, in Venice, Florida, or up near, where it made landfall and Rotunda. But guys, we are very fortunate to be standing here now.
Absolutely, Ginger, and just remarkable what you witnessed over that short period of time. We're going to have much more. Thank you, Ginger. We're going to have much more on the storm just ahead. But right now, we're going to turn to an in-flight emergency. A Turkish Airlines flight from Seattle to Istanbul was diverted to JFK Airport after one of the pilots suffered a medical emergency and died mid-flight. Trevor Ault is here with more on that. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, Rebecca. We do often hear of medical emergencies mid-flight, but it's not often for the person flying the plane. And the crew of this Turkish Airlines flight did try to get on the ground as fast as possible to get the pilot help, but it was too late.
This morning, an alarming diversion and emergency landing for an international flight after the pilot died midair.
We lost one of our captains.
The Turkish Airlines plane took off Tuesday evening from Seattle, piloted by 59-year-old Ilsian Palavan. Seen in this photo obtained by a state-run news outlet, the airline saying after 4 hours of flight time, Palavan lost consciousness. The initial medical intervention on board proved ineffective, and our captain passed away before they could land. The other crew members quickly rerouting the plane to New York's JFK Airport.
Did you require any tests? Negative. There will be an ambulance upon landing.
Turkish Airlines says Palavan had been flying with the company for more than 15 years. In March, he had undergone a routine health exam, and no health issues were found that would have prevented him performing his duties. All passengers on board were booked on separate flights to Istanbul, perhaps fortunate they had an extra pilot on board their initial flight.
On all long-distance flights, there's at least one additional crew member. If this had been a domestic flight where you have just 2 pilots on board, it would have been a little bit dicier, because then you would have had to have a single pilot who would have to have landed that airplane by his or herself.
Now, the cause of death has not yet been revealed. Pilot deaths are, of course, very rare, but they do happen. Because of this, all pilots are trained to land a plane by themselves if it's necessary.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for that.
Those water rescues happening this morning in Clearwater, Florida. I want to go to Larissa Scott from our station WFTS. She's on the scene there. Larissa, what are you seeing this morning?
George, we are dealing with multiple water rescues here in Clearwater this morning. We're at an apartment complex in the area here, and what we've been seeing for the past several hours is multiple rescue teams going out and rescuing families. We have several boats out in this community, high water rescue vehicles. Right now, you're looking at the sheriff's office out here rescuing a family that was trapped in one of these apartment complexes. This is an apartment complex community with at least 20 buildings. We're told from the chief of police here in Clearwater that this is as bad as it gets. Now, this community is known to flood periodically. The last time we're told someone says they saw something like this in the 70s, but ultimately this is pretty uncommon common. I spoke to a resident who's lived here for 19 years. He tells me in the 19 years he's been here, he's never seen anything like this. We're told that the water caught these people by surprise around 2 o'clock this morning after dealing with some heavy rains that came in after midnight in the Clearwater area, high winds and that water rising, just trapping a lot of these people. Someone told me that they had water in their apartment at the chest level. So all morning long, we've been seeing people giving us the SOS signal with their flashlight, calling for help off of balconies, just wanting to be rescued. Now, the sheriff's office and the police chief, they're telling me out here that they know that there are people in almost every apartment in these buildings, and they are going methodically from apartment to apartment on the first floor. Some of these on the second floor were flooded as well. We spoke to somebody who was trapped in his home there. He says he's okay. We know that several pets were flooded too, and so we have been seeing these crews out rescuing these people who've been trapped for the past couple hours. The good news that I can report is that slowly it seems like the water is coming down. Surely, though, several apartment complexes ruined, cars still underwater this morning, and we're told it's going to be a multi-hour rescue effort to get everybody back. That's the latest out here in Clearwater. Back to you guys.
And Larissa, any sense of fatalities or injuries?
No, they say that they are still trying to assess the situation. They just deployed the sheriff's office helicopter to get a better sense of exactly the extent of the damage here. But at last check, they don't have any numbers in terms of injuries or fatalities. They're still working to gather all that right now, as this is a very active rescue effort still. They tell me it'll be a couple of hours before they have any of that information for us.
It is clear it is active, Larissa. Thanks very much for that report.
Yeah, community is underwater there, George. Thank you. And we're going to turn now to the latest on Sean Diddy Combs, due in court as his attorneys push for his release on bail and for a spring date in the sex trafficking trial. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Kotursky is here with more for us. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, Michael. Sean Combs is locked up without bail, so today he's going to ask a judge to stand trial as soon as possible. This morning, Sean Diddy Combs is getting ready for court, where he's pleaded not guilty to charges that accuse him of leading a criminal enterprise that sexually abused and exploited women. The defense is accusing federal agents and prosecutors of tainting the jury pool with unlawful leaks, taking aim at the well-publicized raids on Diddy's homes, and this video obtained by CNN showing Combs attacking his then-girlfriend Cassie in a hotel hallway. Combs is in jail, so his attorneys are asking for an expedited trial beginning in April or May.
Speedy trial really is going to depend on whether or not the prosecution feels as though they are ready for trial in the spring. Do they have enough evidence? Have they spoken to enough witnesses? And are they prepared enough to start trial in this early spring?
The defense is still trying to get Diddy released on bail, arguing he offered to comply with restrictive conditions that would have prevented any conceivable risk of flight or danger. The hip-hop mogul offered to sequester in his $50 million Miami estate, limit visitors, and give up his cell phone. But the judge found Diddy a threat to witnesses and a danger to women. Today, he'll appear before a new judge assigned to the case.
Based on what they're telling me, he's a monster.
Plaintiff's attorney Andrew Van Arsdale telling ABC News a growing number of women and men, nearly 300 now, are coming forward claiming they were invited into Diddy's luxurious world, drugged and sexually assaulted, often on tape. And the lawyer says it's not just Combs.
We've received a lot of accusations against very well-known celebrities that allegedly participated in these after parties, that were either in the room, maybe witnessing these sexual assaults taking place, or even participating in them.
The attorney has declined to name the celebrities and has filed no lawsuits against them or Combs.
Although the civil lawsuits that are allegedly going to be filed have no bearing on the criminal trial that would be happening, the criminal trial can have bearing on the civil cases.
His attorney says Combs emphatically and categorically denies as false and defamatory any claim that he sexually abused anyone, including minors. When Combs appears in court this afternoon, prosecutors could reveal more evidence. They've already said, guys, more charges are possible and more defendants are likely.
And that's a lot of material that they're going to be going through. Okay, Aaron, thank you.
Play of the daytime. Will Reeve is here, and Will, you have a dream this October.
I do. I dream of a Subway Series, the Yankees and the Mets, and it is possible because the Mets are on to the next round. And on June 12th, the Mets had basically no shot to make the playoffs. And then that day, Grimace, the McDonald's mascot that is apparently a giant abstraction of a taste bud, who knew, threw out the first pitch at a game, and the Mets turned things around. And fans and players alike have credited Grimace and his appearance with turning around the juju for the team. Look where it's gotten them. Overnight, the Mets dispatching their bitter rival, the Philadelphia Phillies. Here's the biggest moment of the night. Francisco Lindor, grand slam. One swing of the bat from the Mets superstar shortstop gives the Mets all 4 runs they need. Things got a little hairy in the 9th inning because the Mets are always fun and a bit of a heart attack, but they are on to their first NLCS since 2015. The celebration begins. There it is in the stands. There it is in the stands after the game. The fans serenading Lindor with a rendition of My Girl. Speaking of My Girl, in the post-game press conference, there's Lindor's girl, his daughter, trying to grab the mic to get involved. Champagne celebration in the clubhouse on cue. They are on to the next round. They have to wait to see who they'll play. It's either the Dodgers or the Padres. The Dodgers won last night. Decisive Game 5 coming up. And in the American League, the Tigers are a game away from the next round, as are the Yankees, to bring it full circle. George, if they win, they're on to the next round. Everything's coming together.
You might get Michael back on the subway.
Yeah.
We'll go together. We'll do TV about it.
I need a chaperone.
All right, I'll chaperone.
Thank you.
Got it.
Good. Thank you, Will. Thanks for the grimace. I had no idea about that. Okay, coming up, small businesses take over deals and steals.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Breaking news. Hurricane Milton makes landfall in Siesta Key as an extremely dangerous Category 3 hurricane. Powerful winds up to 120 miles an hour. The roof ripped off Tampa Bay Rays Stadium. Water invades the streets and homes. Transformers blow up, sparks flying. Oh, there it was! At least 3 million people without power right now. Tampa deals with a flash flood emergency in the dark. Milton also spawns at least 36 tornadoes. Ginger tracking where Milton is heading next in the aftermath of this catastrophic storm.
Jennifer Lopez gets honest in her first interview since her high-profile split from Ben Affleck, saying it was like her whole world exploded. What she's saying about her life now, her career, the criticism, and what's next.
Understanding inflammaging, the negative effects of chronic inflammation that can contribute to aging, which can lead to serious illnesses such as cancer, heart issues, and Alzheimer's. What you can do to reduce your risk.
And Diego Luna and Gael Garcia Bernal are here, talking about their new show, back on screen together more than 20 years after their critically acclaimed film. As we say, good morning, America.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA.
Good morning, America. On this busy Thursday morning, we want to get right to the hurricane coverage.
Michael, Milton made landfall as a major Category 3 storm in Siesta Key, but the storm's been felt across the entire state. A swarm of twisters tore through the area.
We're going to have more on that coming up. First, let's go to Ginger in Fort Myers. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, good morning to you, George. So yes, we're right here in Fort Myers. We were in the surge, but that has receded, and now we're showing you tornado damage. So this was the third hurricane for Florida this season alone. This is a daycare that took a tornado. The roof is ripped off, that van wrecked, but we had more than 133 tornado warnings, and that was just the very beginning of what Milton had to offer.
Overnight, a ferocious Hurricane Milton slicing across central Florida. The eye slamming into Sarasota County late Wednesday as a Cat 3 with powerful winds of up to 120 miles per hour. Those gusts uprooting trees and knocking over light poles and power lines. Watch as this transformer explodes. Oh, there it was! Sending sparks flying, water barreling down the streets.
Storm surge just came out of nowhere.
Parts of Venice, Florida, turning into an extension of the sea. Boats in this marina rocking precariously against the violent gusts.
Oh, the boat broke out. The boat.
In St. Petersburg, no! Those strong winds causing a crane to collapse on a building. A massive piece of it lying across the road. And ripping off part of Tropicana Field's roof, home of the Tampa Bay Rays. It's inside visible against the night sky. The hurricane spawning at least 36 reported tornadoes with an astonishing 133 tornado warnings issued. Some of those twisters turning deadly. Multiple fatalities reported at a senior community near Fort Pierce on Florida's East Coast.
We do have multiple fatalities that we can confirm.
The tornado outbreak ripping apart the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, mingled metal mixed with rescue vehicles.
There are rescue reports coming in from Clearwater, Florida. So as the sun has come up, now we will get in and assess that damage, especially on the front right quadrant where that biggest surge likely was, say, Venice or right south of Sarasota Springs. I want to take you through what happened. The track went really well along the forecast, made landfall Siesta Key. And remember, the front side is where you get the onshore flow, and the back side is what Tampa Bay got. So that kind of anti-surge. Big time winds up there, though. St. Petersburg had a 101 mile per hour gust. They also had 1.5 feet of rain. Sarasota, 102 mile per hour gust. Orlando at 86, Tampa 97, and 1 foot of rain. That puts them at their wettest season on record. Wanted to show you too where it is now. It's way into the water already. Still a Category 1 hurricane at 8 a.m.'s update, 85 mile per hour max sustained winds, and it's still moving pretty quickly away from the coast. But those hurricane warnings are in place just for the next hour or two. Surge would still be an issue because you're still pushing water back toward Jacksonville Beach or Daytona Beach or New Smyrna. Certainly Cape Canaveral and Vero Beach are still in those surge warnings. So, Michael, this thing's going to pull away. We'll see the winds dwindle, and by this afternoon and evening, it'll be well out into the Atlantic. It's not coming anywhere close to the northeast or southeast because the front and a couple other things keeping it way far away from us, which we need a break.
Definitely need a break, Ginger. Bye-bye to Milton. I'm sure everyone wants to say that, and thank you so much for that. And as we heard Ginger say in her piece, the hurricane spawned more than 30 reported tornadoes. Let's go to Josie Carbonari in Wellington, Florida, from our station WPBF with just a glimpse of the damage. Good morning, Josie.
Well, good morning, Michael. So we're in what is known as the Preserve neighborhood here in Wellington, Florida, Palm Beach County, for those of you unfamiliar. And the extent of the damage is shocking. When my photographer and I first arrived, we weren't sure what we were going to walk into, but let me show you guys what we're seeing here on the ground. There are multiple homes that have damage. Take a look at this home over here. The garage doors have been completely blown in. There is a bunch of debris all across the road as well. All of these homes have experienced extensive debris. This is all massive trees that have either fallen over, toppled over, or just completely split in half. And then if you come over this way, the most shocking image that you're going to see today here out of Wellington is the vehicle that toppled over onto this house. It flipped over and pinned against the front door, so these folks can't even get out of their front door. This massive tree also pinning the large car to the front of the house. So this is a very incredible thing to see in person. I've been covering many storms, and this is the first time that I've seen anything like this. We are also seeing orange X's on driveways and garage doors. What that means is first responders have gone door to door to make sure everybody's safe, everybody's clear. Luckily here in this area, there weren't any injuries. But again, that wasn't the case in other areas. Here, though, everybody was okay. But I do want to show you guys one more thing that was incredible for me to see. If you come over this way, we saw a mailbox that's actually a heavy metal mailbox web. You've probably seen it at Lowe's, Home Depot. But at the bottom, there's a big cement block. So that just goes to show you how strong the wind is. This thing was completely lifted from the ground. Back to you guys.
Really stunning images there, Josie, and a long road to recovery. We appreciate you and the team and all your reporting from there. Meantime, about 3 million people are without power in Florida, so we're going back to Eva Pilgrim in Orlando with more on that. Good morning again, Eva.
Good morning again, Rebecca. Yeah, more than 3.2 million people waking up, 3.2 million households waking up without power this morning. And it's important to note that it's households because it's actually more people affected. You think about the number of people in each of those households, that number grows exponentially. And they are feeling this all across the state of Florida. This storm was so huge when it made landfall. It basically covered the whole peninsula that is the state. When you go to the west coast of Florida, Tampa Electric reporting 70% of the customers don't have power. Here in Orlando, it was those crazy winds overnight that really messed with the infrastructure here. And those linemen, they were staged, ready to come in as soon as it was safe to hit the road to drive in. But it's going to take time to get the power back on here simply because of the number of people that are affected that don't have power this morning and the sheer distance that they are going to have to travel to get this all back up and running, guys.
Okay, Eva, thanks very much. We're going to have more hurricane coverage throughout the morning on ABC News Live. And coming up on our GMA Morning Menu, Jennifer Lopez talks about the end of her marriage to Ben Affleck and her future.
Also ahead, inflammaging increasing inflammation as you age, the serious conditions it could lead to, and how to reduce your risk.
Inflammaging. Okay.
Inflammaging.
Okay.
Yes.
Plus, Tori Johnson is here with big deals and steals, all half price from small businesses, starting at just $7.50. Plus, dermatologist Dr. Whitney Bowe is here with a skin refresh, and Lara is with two special guests. Hey, Lara.
I sure am. Hi, Rebecca. Diego Luna, Gael, Garcia, Bernal are here telling us about their new boxing show that's breaking new ground on Hulu. Really excited to chat about that coming up on Good Morning America.
We are back with our GMA cover story. Jennifer Lopez sat down for her first interview since her divorce from Ben Affleck. Ariel Reshef has the details. Good morning, Ariel.
Hey, good morning to you, George. J-Lo goes deep in that interview, pulling back the curtain on her divorce, loneliness, and uncertainty. She calls this year the hardest time of her life.
For the first time, Jennifer Lopez speaking out to Interview magazine about her divorce from husband Ben Affleck, telling Nikki Glaser her world exploded, saying, quote, "It feels lonely, unfamiliar, scary. It feels sad. It feels desperate."
Not all love stories have a happy ending.
It's been a difficult year for J-Lo, first canceling her This Is Me Live summer tour, then filing for divorce from Ben Affleck in August after 2 years of marriage, citing irreconcilable differences.
Broken like me, covered in scars.
J-Lo candid that it's been hard, but she's doing a lot of self-reflecting, saying when you get to a point where you think that you've learned the lessons and then it blows up in your face again, you realize, okay, I haven't. So what is it that I need to look at right now?
Well, she still got her beauty, her booty, and her bank account, so bye boy to him.
Over the years, Affleck appearing in multiple projects with Lopez.
Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block.
From the famous yacht scene in Jenny from the Block to a cameo in her video Marry Me.
Baby, you're my shelter from a broken paradise.
To her documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told on Prime Video, which featured their passionate relationship, the title inspired by the letters he wrote to her during their romance 20 years ago.
I'd never fallen out of love with you. I had just put it over here.
J-Lo confessing she had to take the summer to prove to herself she was okay being on her own.
Even if you were broke, my love don't cost a thing.
Now, on the other side, she says she doesn't need anyone to make her happy, saying, quote, "Being in a relationship doesn't define me. I can't be looking for happiness in other people. I have to have happiness within myself."
Now, in this interview, J-Lo also admits that negative comments can really get to her, saying, if I see something that's hurtful, I'm not Teflon. She says that she's leaning on her close friends and family during this challenging time. Nothing like the supportive family. Michael.
That is the truth, Ariel. Thank you so much for that. And now, I'm going to take a look at inflammaging. The Wall Street Journal sparking a discussion on a term scientists use to describe the negative effect of chronic inflammation that can contribute to aging. Neurologist Dr. Leah Kroll is here with more. And Doc, what exactly is inflammaging?
So, Michael, this sounds like a very catchy term, but it's actually a concept that's been around the medical research world for over 20 years. And it's essentially the idea that within the very complex process that is aging, inflammation plays an important role. And so we're learning more and more that as we get older, many of us develop chronic inflammation, and that can lead to this accelerated aging and all of the wear and tear on our bodily tissues that come with that territory.
Now, that's something that happens to all of us, or is it something that some people are more prone to?
Well, we all have an inflammatory response, right? It's the body's natural defense mechanism. It keeps us healthy, but you can have too much of a good thing. And that's when inflammation becomes a problem. This is so much the case that inflammation is actually linked to multiple chronic diseases. We're talking heart disease, stroke, diabetes, cancers, depression, dementias, and those are common diseases, right? So a lot of people who have those diseases are going to be more prone to this chronic inflammation and inflammaging. We're talking about 6 in 10 Americans who live with chronic disease. 4 in 10 have 2 or more chronic diseases on board. So this is really a huge number of people potentially impacted by this.
And so what can we do to reduce the risk or keep it from developing into something that's more serious?
So we do have some good news for you here, which is that there's tons of medical evidence from clinical research that tells us that healthy lifestyle modifications really make a big difference in terms of preventing and even reversing inflammation in the body. And I really want to emphasize this point, Michael, because aging is so out of our control for the most part. It makes us feel so helpless, so powerless. But now we're learning that inflammation, which is a big biological component of that aging process, is actually something that we can influence. So I want people to feel empowered by this. I want them to focus on eating healthy. Every day I'm recommending a Mediterranean diet for my patients, and its anti-inflammatory properties are a big part of that. Staying active, managing stress, prioritizing sleep, reducing your alcohol intake, and quitting smoking.
As they say, if you're lucky, you age, right? Because that
That's
means
right.
you're alive. And just do the best you can, take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Dr. Kroll, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for being here with us. It's time now for Pop News with Lara. Lara, what you got?
Hey, Michael, get over here because we have big news from the world of tennis this morning. One of the greats, Rafael Nadal, has just announced his retirement. 23 years and 22 Grand Slam wins later, Nadal has a record 14 French Open wins, 4 U.S. Opens, 2 Australian Opens, and 2 Wimbledon titles. The tennis star posting an emotional video to his social media to explain his decision, saying that the last 2 years have been difficult because of injuries, saying, quote, "In this life, everything has a beginning and an end. I think it is an appropriate time to put to end a career that has been long and more successful than I could have ever imagined." At 38 years old, Nadal is considered one of the greats to ever play the game, ranked #1 for a total of 209 weeks. Nadal also took the time to thank his greatest rivals. He was part of what was called the Big Three. That, of course, included Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. Nadal will take his final bow at next month's Davis Cup Finals in, appropriately, his home country of Spain.
What a career. What a career. I mean,
and thank you to Nadal for so many great
we were lucky to
moments.
witness
Yep.
his greatness.
Yep. One left now in the Big Three. Hey, also in pop news this morning, Wolverine Hugh Jackman giving us some Greatest Showman vibes with a big announcement. He's doing a 12-night residency at Radio City Music Hall, showing off his singing and dancing prowess that earned him a Tony for The Boy from Oz. Hugh shared the big news on Instagram with the help of a friend. Check it out.
Hey, Ryan, you want to come to one of my live performances at Radio City Music Hall?
Wait, you're going to be like singing and dancing and joking live?
Yep.
Am I going to be in it?
Absolutely.
I'll break out the eyeliner. I'm not going to be in it.
On stage, no, but in my heart, yeah.
Let's see what you've done here, Jackman.
Yeah, but Ryan, I need you there in the audience.
I'll be there in the audience.
Yes.
It's called From New York with Love. It marks Jackman's first live concert series in 5 years. It kicks off January 24th, runs on select weekends throughout this summer. Tickets for Hugh's From New York with Love go on sale next Friday, guys, and that is Pop News.
Thank you, Lara.
There is no place like home. We click our heels, and Tori Johnson is here with all the deals and steals to make your place feel like a palace. And best of all, these products are all from small businesses. It is
and they're
great
gonna
to see
make you feel so comfortable.
Yay.
We're starting with Sunday Citizen. This is their Snug Comforter, their #1 bestseller. You see on this side, super soft.
Yes.
Then on this side, ultra cooling, this piece. So this can replace your duvet cover, your comforter, even your top sheet. Just this. So if you want an easy way to make your bed and to feel better when you're sleeping, this is the comforter for you. We also have the really nice shams. We also have all of their bedding, and everything today from Sunday Citizen is 50% off and free shipping.
Just in time for when it's chilly outside.
Yes.
We love it.
We're heading over here to Fluffco
Yes.
because this is the easiest way to bring the hotel experience home.
Yes.
So when you're in the hotel, we love those high-end pillows. We've got both their down and down alternative, both in soft and in firm. So if you like squishy or if you like a little more support and the higher loft, we've got both options for you, and as well as we know in the high-end hotels, it's all about the robe. So we've got the super comfy, this is the plush robe, the waffle weave robe, everything from Fluffco slash and half starting at $14.50.
We like that.
Okay, then to clean up
you
our
made a mess.
messes.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay, so if you want to grab this broom right here in front and see how easy it is.
Is this what we're doing?
You're going to start.
Or am I actually doing? Okay, you show me, Tori.
You stand right there, and if you then take it like this and just sweep. You see, in one motion, we can get everything. We can get the pet hair, the Cheerios, the eggshells, the glass shards, every single thing in just that one swipe. Typically, what broom bristles leave behind, this gets for you. So it's the easiest way to clean up absolutely everything. The Broom Beat today, 50% off, $17.50.
This is perfect
Teamwork.
for when I play evil stepsisters and Cinderella with Isabel.
There you go. Okay. Happy Wax. Flame-free alternative to fragrance in your home.
Oh,
so we've got the little wax melts that have these great scents, evergreen and citrus here, and then we have the melters, which are also terrific because it just plugs in. You pop in the little bears, and you've got this delicious scent.
It smells so good.
It will fill the whole room. We've got a variety of options. All slash and half starts at $9.
$9.
Okay. Easiest way to pull rope. So typically, rope can get very, very tangled.
Yes.
Rapid rope makes it easy. It's all in this canister. You pull what you need and then pull. Instantly, you have the amount that you need, no scissors, so no matter where you are, you've got this. So this is great to have camping, moving, landscaping, hauling your Christmas tree, tying down your awning. It's got breaking strength over 1,000 pounds, so don't let this little thin size fool you. It is strong. 2 sizes today, they start at $10.
This is great.
It's so smart to have everywhere, anywhere, car, home. Smart Sheet.
Also great, yes.
So good. So we've got their really fabulous dryer balls. We also have, this will help dry faster, reduce the wrinkles, reusable thousands of loads.
Yep.
We also have their really great anti-static essential oil spray that you can spray right onto your dryer balls if you want a little light scent in your balls. We also have their detergent sheets. So just like this, perfectly portioned, one little strip. You've got 48 loads in a pack. These are $7.50 to $15, and that's not all. We've got something else for you today.
What do you got, Tori?
We've got our October Discover the Deal box.
Ooh.
We've got 20 full-size items. You know, we don't do sample sizes in our boxes. We give you the full size, 20 full-size items in there. What's great is you get to try lots of different products, and then you can also share if you want to be generous with your friends. So
you break it up?
You can break it up if you wish. We've got all of the details on the website, and of course, the Discover box has free shipping on it too. So treat yourself.
We love this. Thank you, Tori. And we've partnered with all these companies on all these amazing deals. You can go to goodmorningamerica.com to find all the offers, plus Tori's bonus deals. And coming up, Gael, Garcia, Bernal, and Diego Luna are here.
Welcome back to GMA, live from Times Square.
Welcome back, and we are here now with Gael, Garcia, Bernal, and Diego Luna. They are here to talk about their new series, La Maquina, on Hulu. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yes,
welcome.
so happy to see you.
And we know you two have been traveling all over the world, so thank you for being here early with us. And you're also your lifelong friends and your business partners. You haven't worked together in more than a decade, acted together more than a decade, and 20 years ago was your critically acclaimed film. So how did it feel to be back together on this project?
Feels great, no? Feels natural as well. Feels like, because we've been working off screen, you know, all this time. But we were actually surprised, you know, when we first got to do our first scene, for example, in the series. It was like a moment of recognition of like, oh my God, yeah, of course, this is incredible. And there we saw each other also as more adults, more mature, more I mean, at least we feel maybe hopefully we are, but better actors in a way, you know. Like maturity helps in some way.
Definitely.
Did you think why didn't we do this before? Why did we wait so long?
Yes, definitely, because there's a freedom that we can just explore together, you know, and there's a connection, and we also enjoy every second of acting together, like I do with no one else, you know. Like there is something, because it takes me back to playing as a kid, you know.
Oh,
that's how long we've been.
So nice.
We've
we
been
can
together.
see the connection right here. And you play a boxer. Tell us about him.
Yeah, I play this boxer, and I mean, we always thought about, you know, always when we thought about the original idea, was like, let's play that moment when the boxer has to say goodbye, has to retire. You know, let's do that type of anti-fable, you know, of what it is to say goodbye to what you know doing, but also like at that moment when you're most successful, no? When you're when the boxer is finally enjoying as well, finally knows how to do it, but the body's not there. No, it's very cruel with sports, of course. It's very cruel that moment. So we wanted to explore that and what happens between him and his manager, no? And they go into some crazy adventures in the series.
Right, I bet. And we were saying, you know, it's interesting that Nadal just announced his retirement. It's very fitting that we're talking about this right here. And Michael, you can relate certainly. I want to talk to you, Diego, though, about playing the manager, because you really do transform for this role.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about this character.
He's obsessed with Botox and everything that he can inject to himself. He handles anxiety in weird ways. I don't recommend that. He represents somehow the system, right? And there's a need to get everything out, squeeze the boxer before he leaves, right? And but he's at the same time, he's the best friend, and he's loyal, and there's a contradiction there. He's a professional liar. He has a very toxic relation with his mother. It's quite a character. Lovely to play it, but happy not to be him.
Wouldn't want to live it.
Yeah. But we have a clip of a fun moment. Let's check it out. All right. Serious question.
Yes.
In real life, who has more fun at karaoke?
I mean, definitely him. Definitely him. No. I mean, I need to be very drunk. Otherwise, I'll stay sitting down.
But he only needs like a little scratch as well, you know, because immediately he goes on stage as well.
Yeah, you didn't seem like you were suffering out there.
No, I was behind my mask, my Botox mask.
That's right.
Yeah, but that's how the characters celebrate after the first fight. They go to the karaoke, and the karaoke in the series is a element that goes throughout the whole series, because that's where they kind of have some catharsis.
Yeah.
Which don't we all have a lot of catharsis in karaoke? Are you guys good at karaoke? Do you like it? Well,
we do it. I don't know if we're good.
But that's the point. No, that's the point. Doing it.
Do you have another great project going on? You're returning to the Star Wars universe, Andor Season 2. Can you give us any scoop?
Not much. I mean, it's going to be ready next year. We're almost there. It's complex. It's great. I mean, this second season and last, because this is the last one. It ends with the beginning of Rogue One. It's going to be great. But not yet. Next year we'll be presenting it.
I just want to end by saying I loved Coco so much. You played Hector in Coco, just one of the great movies to me, just a beautiful story. Does that character have a special place in your heart?
Of course, especially now that the Day of the Dead is approaching.
Yep.
Which is straight after Halloween. It's on the 2nd of November. And yeah, it is a very dear character, and you know, in Mexico we have this tradition of putting an altar, you know. So it's time to put the altar right now.
Yeah.
It's time to put the altar. It begins this month.
Well, we're excited you both came here to talk about
Thank
this
you.
with us. So, Gael, Diego, thank you
Thank
both
you.
very much. Good to have you both
Thank you
together.
so
I
much.
love it.
Really
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
And La Maquina is streaming now on Hulu. Make sure you check it out and get your karaoke chops ready.
Now with a fall face refresh. When the seasons change, so does our skin. And this morning, board-certified dermatologist Dr. Whitney Bowe is here with tips to reversing that summer sun damage. It is great to see you. You help so many of us here at GMA keep our skin looking and feeling healthy. A lot of people are now looking to rejuvenate their skin. What do you recommend?
This time of year, so many of my patients are coming to the office asking me to help them reverse summer damage, and they're pointing to things like dark spots, rough texture. So here are the key ingredients that I recommend using and exactly how I recommend using them. So we'll start with vitamin C, guys, because vitamin C is one of the most powerful ingredients when it comes to brightening dark spots, evening out skin tone. Now, the older form of vitamin C, this is called L-ascorbic acid, can be a bit irritating on the skin. So if you're going to use that form, I just recommend using it once a day just in the morning. But now there are newer forms of vitamin C that you can actually build up to using twice a day every day, because these newer forms, things like THD ascorbate, they're more stable, they're less irritating. So I love getting that extra dose of antioxidants on my skin again at night before bed.
And so you can do it twice a day?
If you're using the newer form, you can actually build up to using it twice a day. That's what I do.
With the retinol?
So you can layer the newer forms, you can layer with your retinol.
Okay.
I love you asked that.
I mean,
yes.
I love a retinol, so I can't
Girl knows
get past
her
that. We have a question from Nicholas. Let's take a look.
I heard retinoids are amazing for reversing summer damage, but I also heard that they could be really irritating. How do I get started with one, and what can I expect?
Okay,
Speaking of retinols.
Speaking of retinoids, so retinoids can speed skin cell turnover. So within a few days of starting a retinoid, you'll notice softer, smoother skin. But if you stick to using it consistently over time, it can smooth out lines, wrinkles. It can actually firm the skin. So my rule of thumb with retinoids, guys, is you want to use these at night before bed. But if you're new to retinoids, I recommend cycling it into your skincare routine every 4th night to start. And then you can gradually build up to using it more and more nights of the week over time if your skin tolerates it.
If your skin tolerates it. So start with every 4th night.
Yep.
Okay, a lot of people are dealing with rough skin right now. And they might be dealing with it because of retinoids, or they might be dealing with it because of the summer and all of the sun damage.
Yes.
What do you do?
So rough skin, dull skin. I love a leave-on exfoliating serum with ingredients called alpha hydroxy acids. So this is another ingredient you want to use at night underneath your moisturizer, but more is not better with these ingredients, guys. So I recommend my patients do best when they limit their use to 2 to 3 times a week max.
That's so important, and I think of more is not better also in terms of products. Like when you start putting too many products on the face, there becomes an issue. You have a great way of really tracking all of this.
I do. So I built a skincare calendar for you guys. So let's look at week 1. So week 1, I'm not seeing, oh, there we are. They magically appeared. So vitamin C is what I consider a daily skincare staple. So you're going to see that vitamin C appearing every single day of the week. But Rebecca, you'll notice that these other actives, you're cycling on and off of those actives at night, or else we're going to overdo it. More is not better. So we'll go to week 2 and you'll see again that you're cycling through these different actives, right? So you're seeing the alpha hydroxy acids followed by the retinoid, but then you're taking a break, just using vitamin C with your moisturizer. Let's go to week 3 because that's where the magic starts happening, because you want to gradually start introducing more retinoid nights back to back. If your skin can tolerate it.
Okay.
Exactly. And then go to week 4 and you see more of that retinoid action happening here. And if you really stay consistent over time, you can see beautiful changes within a month.
And remind me that ingredient in vitamin C, the type of vitamin C that you can use twice a day.
THD ascorbate.
THD ascorbate. Dr. Whitney Bowe, as always, thank you. And we're going to go back. Oh, you're back tomorrow for day 2 of our Fall Face Refresh. We get double.
And we're going to hear now from Andrew Garfield. He's starring in a new movie called We Live in Time alongside Florence Pugh. He sat down with Janine Norman to talk about it.
We Live in Time tells the story of 2 strangers brought together by chance.
So sorry, but do we know each other?
Yeah, no. I ran you over. Sorry.
It seemed to be very much in line with the things I was ruminating on and considering in my life. Love, partnership, connection, loss, risk, meaning. courage, sorrow, grief, joy, and how those two things are one thing. I discovered in my kind of mid to late 30s. It's like, oh, grief, like sorrow and joy, you know, it's the Inside Out, it's that Pixar film. It's like, it took me a little longer to figure it out. Yeah, exactly. It's one, you can't have one without, you can only go as high as you can go deep. And this script just kind of felt like the inside of my heart and my brain.
I'm guilty of looking ahead instead of right in front of me.
Andrew Garfield stars alongside Florence Pugh in the film hinging on their connection, but the two had never met before.
How was it with you and Florence once you did meet, cultivating that relationship to be able to feel safe in so many ways?
Yeah. Safe is the word. Safe and trusting, and cultivating is a great word too, because it takes work. It's not something that you can just leave to the gods. I think you have to really intentionally make sure these two people have to be really safe with each other. Safe to fail, safe to look foolish, and safe to have all of your nooks and crannies seen in all the ways. And it was cultivated. I understood very, very quickly within rehearsals and maybe the first few days of filming that I was very, very safe with Florence. She's so unjudgmental.
The buzz for the film hasn't just focused on Andrew and Florence, though.
The beauty of the film, the tenderness, it's captured in that picture on the carousel, but then you've got this horse. Okay, I saw that you read that you saw the horse and you were like, maybe I'm the only one. You're not the only one. What was it like when you like pick up your phone and you see like, oh man, everyone sees this?
It's so funny. I was crying with laughter because I was away. The timing was perfect for me because I saw the thing and I went into a retreat, and a retreat where there's no technology, so I turned my phone off for 6 days. The timing was absolutely perfect. It was the 6 days of peak horse memery. Sometimes the internet is a worthwhile place.
Right?
Every
now and then.
Once every 10 years, the internet will produce something. Yeah.
Well, you're totally leaning into it, like the jacket.
Oh yeah, because I love stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I think stupid stuff is my favorite stuff.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing more stupid than this horse thing. The horse, like, with Sigourney Weaver and Alien, and like the horse ray gun, the Australian break dancer with the horse head. There were just so many good things.
For Good Morning America, Janae Norman, ABC News, New York.
Looks like Janae has some fun. We Live in Time is opening in New York and LA tomorrow, everywhere next Friday. Coming up, a 28,000-mile adventure, what a young man learned when he walked around the world.
We're back now with an incredible journey made by a man and his dog, Tom Tursich. And his Australian Shepherd, Savannah, circled the globe on foot and paw. And he wrote a book about it called The World Walk. And he spoke with Ike Ajachi about his adventure. Good morning, Ike.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Tom Tursich became the 10th person to walk around the world. And his book takes you right along through a roller coaster of thrilling and often dangerous moments, all while showing the unbreakable bond between a man and his dog.
Good morning, guys. It's day 1218.
It's a massive, life-changing expedition. Tom Tursich walking the world, a journey taking 7 years and 28,000 miles over 6 continents.
That's really the story of the book, is that it's just about my gradual transformation in a million different ways.
Those changes found between the pages of his new book, The World Walk, where Tursich walks you through often deeply personal and emotional experiences from all over the world, mostly with his Australian Shepherd, Savannah, right by his side.
Can you describe the relationship you had with Savannah?
We were each other's everything for those 7 years. She was the constant in my life. You know, every day when I'm out there in Mexico, in Guatemala, in Peru, in Morocco, wherever it was, Savannah was always there with me.
Savannah! The pair appearing on GMA back in 2022, just weeks after their globe-spanning trek.
I got her to protect me, I thought, at night. You know, it was utilitarian. But eventually, you know, you spend so much time together and you camp in all these strange places. It was really just nice to have something there beside me to share everything.
And recently, Tursich saying his final goodbye to Savannah, the dog passing away this summer, leaving behind a world full of memories.
every day, no matter what, she was hyped to get up and walk. I'd be on the ground and my legs were throbbing in my head and I couldn't wait to get to bed, but she still wanted to play and explore. And it didn't matter if it was raining, if it was the heat, whatever it was, she wanted to press on. I wrote it all down, got it all in the book, her whole story, everything's in there. And part of me feels like the book I needed to write just to share how amazed I am by the first dog to walk around the world. She was a beast.
The trip opening his eyes to so much more, including his brand new fiancée, Bonnie, who he met in Washington State on the last leg of his journey.
We had tacos and we just hit it off. And then she met me again in Idaho and Montana and Wyoming and in Colorado and then in Pittsburgh. And we just had this incredible connection. We're engaged and we're in Paris and we got engaged under the Eiffel Tower. And part of the love story is in the book. And she flattens things out for me, I would say. She flattened all the wrong turns into the right turns.
How about that, guys? Now, that amazing dog, Savannah, was actually the first dog to complete a world walk. And if you're wondering how his fiancée Bonnie feels about his adventurous side, well, Tom writes that she's a big fan of climbing glaciers in Alaska. Yeah, it's a match made in heaven. Now, the book, The World Walk, is now available everywhere, guys.
Oh,
that's
awesome. Great story.
Great story. And we have another thing, Mike and Ike. That's what Fonzie, great job coming up with that.
Good.
Yeah, we got a new show ourselves.
Retreat.
We want to thank you for watching. Our thoughts are with everyone who's down in Florida.
Yes, they are. Have a good day.